What happened to the smartest kid in your class? Story 1. Smartest guy from my high school became an actual rocket scientist. Story 2. He went to MIT, works for Apple, and has a very expensive home in California. He also has a wife and 4 kids and seems to be very happy. I remember he was programming games in high school and was valedictorian. A big nerd who became a wealthy big nerd. Story 3. Died from a brain tumor right after he graduated high school. He was dang smart. Could play the piano upside down too. Story 4. Dropped out of college to marry and support the much younger woman he got pregnant. Now owns a board game store with a large back room for mini painting and games and plays dad to half the neurodivergent kids in town. Still married to the same woman too. It's not a high-flying life, but he makes a difference to so many people. Edit, to make y'all feel better, he was 23, I think, and she was 18, a big age gap when you're young. It was also in the Netherlands, where at least at the time we didn't really care so much as long as it wasn't a 10-year difference or one of them was under 15. Teenagers have intercourse drives, it happens. Story 5. He spent years researching how to cloak himself like the Predator from the 1987 film with Arnold Schwarzenegger. He got surprisingly far before he ended up getting a top-secret government job. Haven't heard from him since. Maybe he's a secret agent, maybe he actually became the Predator. No one knows. Story 6. She was possibly the sweetest girl I'd ever met. I was an intelligent underachiever and ended up in a few AP courses with her because our teachers saw my test scores and refused to continue to let me do things with my friends. She was always super proud of me when I actually showed up and put some effort in and, lo and behold, got excellent marks. Honestly, she really turned around the last 2 years of HS for me. Also, she's wicked hot now. A hot genius. Story 7. She married a religious fruitcake 12 years older than she was almost immediately after graduation and started pumping out kids. Never went to college. Has never had a job. Spends her days on Facebook shaming people for being sinners. Story 8. He was an idealist, became a priest and served in the Vatican, became disillusioned and left the church, got 2 master's degrees, and died by his own hand. He was a truly good person who couldn't marry his ideals with the reality of the church. Story 9. I lost contact after graduation, but a few years later when I was a sophomore in college I decided to look him up on Facebook and couldn't believe what I saw. There was my friend the brainiac smoking salvia out of a huge bong as his profile picture. I think he had to take it down because when I looked him up again he had pics of him drinking out of a funnel. Story 10. No joke. Of the 3 people I knew from high school who eventually became cops, all of them were bullies. Only one of them really bullied me, and it was only for a little while until I confronted him in front of some of our mutual friends and asked why he was being a and what had I ever done to him. Then he laid off me, but he was still a bully to other people. Dude had rage issues, too, and the reason he started freaking with me was because I refused to follow his orders. When I found out he was a cop a couple decades later, I was like, Jesus, I'd hate to ever get pulled over by him. He acted like one of those PP cops you see foaming at the mouth screaming in people's face for refusing to let him EFF on their rights before he even had any official authority. Can't imagine what he turned into once he got some. Story 11. Freaking miss and love you buddy. Story 12. Went to college for mathematics as one of the most promising young minds in the Midwest. Was in college for a year before switching to study Spanish. Dropped out a year later. Currently works at GameStop 20 minutes from his parents' house, where he lives. He was a good friend of mine, but I recently learned that he considered me his best friend. It's such a shame that his intelligence is going to waste. He is literally so smart, and has such a talent for math, but he seems content with his life. Who am I to judge? Story 13. That was me. I'm now a stay-at-home dad of 4 wonderful kids and in a loving, 16-year marriage. My wife is my best friend. While I may not have reached my full potential academically, I'm happy. Very happy. I realize that life is too short to care about anything other than living my life the way that I want to, not the way that I'm expected to. Story 14. He did his undergraduate degree, couldn't afford a master's etc., so ended up working in offices for 15 years where he had to hide his intelligence around his co-workers. Finally founded his own company and is now in politics where he can be the smartest person in the room and people will respect it. Good guy, just way above most people's level of intelligence and has had to hide it most of his life. Story 15. All the pressure made me have a mental breakdown in college. I was diagnosed with many illnesses mentally. Finished my first round with a 3.98. Got diagnosed with fibromyalgia. Freaked my body and memory so bad I had to quit my job working at our doctor's office. Developed severe myofascial pelvic pain syndrome. I lost everything, including my husband. He cheated and left because not working made me not part of the team. I wish I put more effort into experiences rather than education, as now I'm disabled and it all feels pointless and worthless as I'm in debt I can't work out of. Story 16. I was valedictorian in a class of approximately 20 people in high school. I never found work in the field I studied in college and was tired of the entry-level work I'd been stuck doing for years, so I went back to school for some search related to IT and programming. I'm doing just above entry-level IT work now, which is fine. The girl I was planning to marry left me shortly after I turned 30, but because of the housing market I'm forced to live in the guest room of the home we had bought together. Due to one of the jobs I'd worked before getting into IT, I'm dealing with anxiety and depression caused by PTSD. I'm living in a city that I hate after having left my friends and family behind to move in with my now ex, so I'm very much alone. People often said I was smart, but it was always just surface-level facts and decent communication skills. I know my situation could always be worse. I'm grateful to have a job and a place to sleep, and being able to communicate with friends over Discord has been helpful. Still, I'd hoped my 30s wouldn't be like this. Story 17. I was voted most likely to succeed at the time I was a B student. I'm not sure why they voted me that. I was smart and did spend my time programming and thinking about physics and math, so that's probably why. I went to community college and did well enough to transfer to UC Berkeley. Then I did an MS at UCLA. I started working at Google after and got married and had a kid. I left after 5 years to do a PhD at Stanford in computer science. Just graduated. It'll be my 20-year reunion soon. So I guess I did succeed, though I haven't really made a mark on the world. But actually, there were tons of really successful people in my graduating class. During high school everyone seemed angsty and mean, but so many of them got their acts together. There are dozens of PhDs and MDs and journalists, business people, etc. I mean, yes, there were definitely a good number of not-so-successful people too, but I don't think I was a major outlier. Story 18. Not my class, but the one above me, and it was my brother. He was superlative winner, best smile, most likely to be famous, likely to succeed, best dressed, most likely to be famous, etc. The school made him pick two. He also won prom king and fulfilled all his projected roles. As his little sister, my big brother is my absolute hero of a human all around. He is a PA making bank, drives a cool car, humble AF, has a beautiful GF I hope to call my SIL one day. Me? I got senioritis and the school had to call my mom to let me know I needed to show up for superlative pics, LOL. I'm an artist. I work with rock stars on the spectrum. I have 100 plants and solo travel to go hiking. Imo, we made it. All the money in the world wouldn't put me through his academic endurance. He is such a great role model. I'm so blessed to have him as my big brother and best friend. He calls me for his mental turmoils, and I make time. I call him when I made a new art plant sale. Our relationship is unmatched. Story 19. Dude signed a multi-million-dollar offer for an engineer at comptroller who sent him to Europe where he traveled, added to his funds, became FB with a pop idol in Korea, came back here, left again to go be Zaphod Beeblebrox. Guy farted clouds of luck and charisma. Winner. And a genuinely kind man. Story 20. That was me. Dux or valedictorian of my high school. Voted brainiest by my peers for the school yearbook. Highest university entrance grades of my school. Quintessential nerd. I went into chemical engineering because that was the degree brainy kids did. I was okay at the job, but never great. Bounced around across 5 different manufacturing companies, mostly in entry-level positions or close to it. Has some mild successes, got a few promotions. Got made redundant a lot. Finally secured a management position after 10 years. And realized I absolutely hated every aspect of the job. Did a lot of soul searching. It really was a massive shock to my system that I had failed at something that was meant to be for the smart people. Took a lot for me to redefine my identity without smart being at the heart of it. These days I teach chemistry at the local high school. I absolutely love it. Kind of regret that I turned my nose up for years because I was too smart to be a teacher. But I can't change the past, so all that's left to do is learn from it. Story 21. He went to ace the board exam. Twice in 2 different fields. I couldn't be prouder. Most importantly, he became my boyfriend and changed many perspectives I had in life. I'd have never lived up to this day were it not for him, and I hope I did and still do my best to care for him the same. It wasn't always shiny days. He had very depressive episodes, with lots of doubts and being forced to face heavy pressure. We had a toxic relationship in between, and a lot of things weren't healthy at all. I even projected a lot of insecurities, especially being with this very intelligent person compared to my inferior self. Imagine hormones and adulting mixing up. Wow. Fortunately, we are in a so much better state right now. Man, was it a journey. We changed and developed as our own individuals, with lots of moments shared together. I'm lucky to have him. I don't care if he's smart or whatever, he's freaking funny and is able to listen to me rant about whatever favorite thing I have for the day. He's not a cat person, but damn, I'm trying to convert him through the cat subreddits here. And I'll be here for him.